Hello, everyone. I am Cameron Jewell, and I made a post on my social medias yesterday sharing about the presentation that I gave at the Universalist Unitarian Fellowship Church here in St. Augustine on Sunday, March 9th, 2025. I was asked to speak at this church, and that I did. And the reactions that I received were not what this church claims to represent. The same church that opens their services saying that people of all religions, shapes, shades, political affiliations, and belief systems are welcome there. However, after I was done sharing my presentation, not only was I insulted by some of the members there, flicked off by a grown man, but I was also told that I should not have been allowed to speak there, among other things that I will touch on after I read for you verbatim what I shared in that presentation. The only thing that I don't have to show you here today are the slides. However, nothing about the slides are what upsets people. What upset people was the comment that I made about children, and oddly enough, raw dairy. People were very upset that I recommended raw dairy. This presentation was titled, "Do You Know What You Are Eating?" That's it. That's it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to timestamp this on YouTube for those of you who want to skip through to various parts. But first, I'm going to read to you what I wrote. Mind you, I prepared for a 25-minute presentation. So that's what this is. I was a little more nervous when I was standing in front of all of those people to give this presentation than I am right now. But the essence, I think, is going to be basically the same. So here we go. I'd like to start this presentation off with a quote from the book Good Energy by Casey Means. "The pounds of molecular information that we put into our bodies daily impact our health. Every thought you have and every feeling you feel comes from food. Inside of your mother's body, you were 3D printed out of food, and every item you ingest continues to print the next iteration of yourself. Bodies, neurotransmitters, hormones, nerves, and mitochondria are all made exclusively and necessarily from what you or your mom put into your or her mouth. We don't arise from thin air. We arise from food." Hello, everyone. I am Reverend Cameron Jewell, founder of Community Nourishment Missionaries, and I operate under the title of Holistic Lifestyle Advocate. There are many, many things that I do in the community, but relevant to today's topic, I work with a couple of dozen people weekly to help liberate themselves from the sick care and pharmaceutical industry, take their health and lives into their own hands, and work overtime to obtain sustainable vitality. I educate, I advocate, I embody, and I behold. One of my slogans is, "Health is a lifestyle," because health is not something that comes easily and just sticks around. It requires hard work and discipline at first, and then consistent effort every day to maintain. Today, I will be talking to you in America, as an American, about the American food industry and how it impacts our lives. What I love the most about nature and the human body is that it does not care about your religion, your political affiliations, your race, your gender, or your belief systems. Nature, which the human body is absolutely a product of, is designed in a way that has nothing to do with any of the things I just mentioned. The human body was designed in a certain way, to function in a certain way, and requires certain nutrients in order to function optimally. While there might be slight variations depending on race and sometimes genetic factors, birth defects, or accidents, the design of the human body is basically universal. We all have a heart to the left of our sternum. We have lungs for us to breathe. We have kidneys and a liver to help us process nutrients and dispose of waste, a stomach to break down and process the food and fluids that we consume through our mouth, and so on. The human body was designed to function synergistically with its environment. However, our environment has changed so radically and so drastically over the last 100 years that our biology has not been able to keep up with it. Some of the consequences associated with these drastic changes include poor physical and mental health, increased rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and overall a poor quality of life. Among American teens alone, statistics are showing that 18% of teens have fatty liver disease, 30% are pre-diabetic, and over 40% are obese or overweight. Some statistics among American adults include 6 out of 10 adults are living with a chronic illness. 50% of adults will deal with mental illness at some point in their life, and 74% of adults are obese or overweight. There are many studies and statistics that show us how quickly and drastically the health of Americans is declining, though we really do not even need these statistics. We can look around any given room when we are in public or think of the people that we know and love, and we will quickly see that more than 3 out of 10 people are overweight. 1 in every 5 people that we know struggle with some sort of chronic illness, and ourselves or someone we know struggle with mental health often. While there are many things that can contribute to poor health in America, such as the environment, pollutants in the air that we breathe, the toxins we clean our home with or rub onto our skin, today I want to focus on the food that we eat in this country. The saying, "You are what you eat," rings so loudly. It is true. Our body requires us to eat certain nutrients to allow it to do its infinite amounts of jobs and processes. And those nutrients are either coming from or not coming from the food that we eat. I know or have seen many of you sitting here today, and I know that most of you are kind-hearted, passionate, aware of, and affected by the pain, sorrow, and injustice that takes place in this world. I know that many of you are actively participating in the ways that you know how to do what you feel makes a positive difference. To those of you with this fire in your heart, I have to ask, what is more important than the food that we eat, the water that we drink, and the air that we breathe? How can we exist, help, make a difference, or co-create without energy coursing through our bodies, allowing us to be willing and able? What I am going to share here today may not feel light, fluffy, and full of positivity. Love can be tough, and light can be blinding. While I recognize that I may make some people uncomfortable in this moment, ultimately, it is because I want you to be more comfortable in the time to come. Our body is completely renewed every 7 years. The cells that line our stomach and intestines are renewed every 7 days or so. Our liver is renewed every 150 to 500 days, and our skin is completely renewed every 2 to 4 weeks. What we consume now will define our future. The acronym for the standard American diet is SAD, SAD. And I believe it to be so fitting, because it really is sad what the American people are sold as food. What I believe to be very sad is how disconnected from our bodies and food that we are. We are so disconnected from our bodies that we now have children that want to mutilate their one and only body because they do not understand who or what they are. Their bodies are inflamed. Their brains are on fire. They are in pain. And I know deep in my soul that we were not designed to live this way. I do not have a lot of time today to teach you how to read labels and begin liberating yourself from this poisonous system, but anyone is free to reach out to and work with me after today, should you feel called to. I want to show you what foods are hurting us the most, to bring some awareness to them, and then allow you to dive into research into how you can look for and choose healthier options. Some questions I want you to think about before you consume anything include, do I know what the ingredients are? Can I pronounce these ingredients? Are the ingredients natural or synthetic? How close to its natural state is this food? How much added sugar is in here? Let's take a look at some of the most common foods that Americans eat, and we will start with packaged meats. Most of the packaged meats found in the grocery store contain some sort of sodium salts for preservation, and you will find these chemicals on the ingredients list. The most common ones are sodium nitrate, sodium benzoate, sodium diacetate, sodium propionate, and sodium erythrobate. Some of the known health concerns associated with consuming these preservatives include high blood pressure and hypertension, cardiovascular disease, hormonal and reproductive imbalance, and more. The World Health Organization and the Agency for Research on Cancer have admitted that these preservatives can increase the risk of certain cancers, especially stomach and colon cancer. Fortunately, many companies have started to package their meat without all of these additives. However, usually they cost more than the poisoned meat. These meats include, but are not limited to, hot dogs and bologna, which are among the worst, packaged deli meats, bacon, and beef. Another sad truth about the meat industry is that many of these animals are pumped with antibiotics and other medications to keep the animals from contracting and spreading infectious diseases, which usually arise due to the poor conditions in which they all live. Remember, what your food consumes, you consume. This is one of the many reasons why we have so many antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria these days. Bacteria are complex and intelligent and able to quickly develop resistance to antibiotics and then share that immunity with every bacteria it comes into contact with after. We are waging a war on bacteria that we cannot win. When buying your meat, look for labels that say grass-fed and finished, antibiotic-free, no added hormones, free range, and pasture raised. However, the best thing that you can do is find and connect with local farms, especially the ones that you can visit and meet the animals and witness their living conditions. We'll move on now to seed and vegetable oils. Cooking with these oils or consuming these oils that have been exposed to high temperatures is detrimental to our health. The heating of these oils can produce toxic byproducts that our bodies are unable to process, and they cause malfunction and disease in the body. A not so fun fact is that these toxic byproducts are stored in our fat cells for up to 4 years. And then I showed them a diagram of the process that seeds endure to become commercial seed oils, and I asked them to keep in mind that the actual machinery used is dirty and corroded. There are some healthy oils that offer the body benefit, such as olive oil, but you still do not want to cook with olive oil. You can safely cook with coconut oil, raw butter, ghee, tallow, and avocado oil. Cold-pressed, unrefined virgin oils offer our bodies a wide range of medicine, both internally and externally. It is cooking with these seed oils that changes the chemical structure and creates something toxic for our bodies. Many of the products you find in the store are pre-cooked with these dangerous oils. Let's move on to high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is one of several toxic, refined sugars added to many of the food products. As you begin to take the time to read the ingredient labels on the food that you choose to consume, you will quickly find that high fructose corn syrup is at the top of the list of so many products. The way that ingredient labels are structured is from highest quantity to lowest quantity. So when you look at the ingredients list and you see that high fructose corn syrup is the first, second, or third ingredient, that means that there is more high fructose corn syrup than the other ingredients. Some of the proven risks of consuming high fructose corn syrup include fatty liver disease, diabetes type 2, heart disease, weight gain, increased fat in the blood, and more. Some of the products regularly consumed by Americans that are loaded in high fructose corn syrup include candy and packaged sweets, baked goods, even some of our bread has it. Soda, which is one of the most deadly food-like products consumed, juices, condiments and salad dressings, pancake syrup, ice cream, fruit snacks, and much more. Continuing on with added sugars, when you look at the back of an ingredient list, you will see sugars and then you will see added sugars. The sugars are the naturally occurring sugars in some foods such as fruits. The added sugar represents the dangerous processed sugar added to so much of our food to sweeten it and keep us addicted to these products because sugar is addicting and it keeps us consuming. Sometimes you will see products this big that have 5, 10, or even more grams of sugar per serving. Some known health risks associated with processed sugar include inflammation, tissue degradation, mood instability, diabetes, Alzheimer's, which is now classified as diabetes type 3, bone loss and joint pain, heart disease, and much more. Unfortunately, many sugar replacements cause disease as well, such as the aspartame and NutraSweet and Equal, and the sucralose and Splenda, just to name a couple. Thankfully, nature has given us many natural sources of sugar, and the closer food is to nature, the better our body's ability will be to recognize and utilize the food. Some of these natural sweeteners include honey, stevia, dates, applesauce, maple syrup, and molasses. One of my favorite snacks to have around is honey, cacao nibs, and powdered rose petals. I will use several tablespoons of honey, crush up my cacao nibs, and mix the nibs and the rose petals into the honey. I keep it in a jar with a lid, and whenever I have a craving that I just can't resist, I will eat a couple, or maybe several, teaspoons of this mixture. Remember, it is impossible to be perfect, and many of us have carried our eating habits with us for years, and those habits will not change overnight. It's not about being perfect. It's about striving for improvement and wellness. Although America may be one of the most toxic nations of the world, we also have more opportunity and freedom of choice than most. I choose to allow this truth to empower me when confronted with densities such as what is allowed within our food system. While it is not easy, it is absolutely possible to eliminate so many toxins from your everyday life. There are some things we have little to no control over, such as what large corporations do to the people for profit, the chemicals they spray into our skies, and the toxins they dump into our waters. We do have varying degrees of choice as to what we put into our mouths. One thing that I like to say loud and clear as often as I can is that there is more nutritional value in inorganic fruits and vegetables than there is in fake processed food-like products. Yes, we are also being poisoned by countless pesticides and herbicides. And if you have the ability to buy organic, locally grown produce, I highly recommend that you do. But the truth is that many people cannot afford to eat everything organic and poison-free. Some of the foods I recommend trying your best to eat organic due to heavy pesticide use include all of the berries, leafy greens, and bell peppers. You can research the Dirty Dozen food list to read and begin learning about the pesticide use in our country, in our food industry, I said. On my website, communitynourishment.org, I have an article called Basic Eating Suggestions, which is a basic eating model that I worked from when healing my digestive system from Crohn's. This model looks like fruits in the mornings. I always recommend eating your fruits early in the day so that you can use the energy from the natural sugar in fruits to fuel your day. An hour or so after the fruits, grounding, protein-rich foods. Lunch and dinner are combinations of protein and vegetables. Many people have worked with this model, adjusting it and creating new versions that better suit them and their needs. I am a fan of raw cheese and dairy products. Most of the dairy products that you find in the store have undergone pasteurization, which strips these foods of life, leaving you to consume a dead product. I want to bring some attention to the importance of supplementation. I wouldn't be Cameron if I didn't spend some time talking about real medicine, and I want to shed some light on the unfortunate truth that our soils have been so abused that they've mostly been stripped of life. So even when we are eating fruits and vegetables and whole foods, we may not be getting all of the nutrients that our bodies need in a sufficient amount. Minerals are always the first to come to my mind. I am obsessed with minerals. Most people are deficient in a number of minerals, especially magnesium. Magnesium plays a key role in over 80% of our body's processes. Magnesium is a cofactor in more than 300 enzyme systems that regulate biochemical reactions in our body, including protein synthesis, muscle and nerve function, blood glucose control, and blood pressure regulation. The left ventricle of our heart, which is responsible for pumping oxygenated blood from the heart to the rest of the body, requires more magnesium than anywhere else in the body. I'd be willing to bet that 80% or more of heart disease is due to insufficient magnesium, and more studies are starting to back this up. Many people take a magnesium capsule in the form of glycinate, citrate, or many of the other types of magnesium. While these forms of magnesium can be medicine for the body, I believe that topical use of magnesium chloride is superior to all others. Yet, it is the one least spoken about until recently. You see, if you have any inflammation in your gut, which most people do, that automatically reduces the amount of magnesium you can absorb from internal supplements. Magnesium also has to compete for absorption with other minerals in the digestive tract and requires a delicate balance of gut flora for optimal utilization, which many people do not have. Magnesium chloride bypasses all of these processes, absorbs through the skin, into the bloodstream, and your body has this innate intelligence to be able to send it wherever your body needs it the most. I make and distribute magnesium oil with instructions on the many different ways that you can use it. You can use it for pain, insomnia, cramps anywhere in the body, deodorant, mouthwash, date night, and more. If you're interested in learning about this amazing mineral, I recommend reading the article that I wrote on the website, which you can find by visiting the website and typing magnesium oil into the search bar. Like most things in our first world capitalistic society, the supplement industry is also focused on making as much money with as little cost as possible to the people making the money. We, the consumers, pay the ultimate price. There are tens of thousands of products out there marketed to convince you that it will change your life and make you feel better. I know so many people who have tried dozens of products with little to no success. There are many reasons that I do not like the supplement industry, though one of the most important reasons is that many of these products are so far removed from their natural states that I cannot even think of them as natural anymore. Oftentimes, what these companies will do is extract certain chemicals and constituents from plants or other natural sources and concentrate them down to make them stronger. Remember, plants are communities. Each plant is a community of chemicals and constituents that work together to produce certain effects, either in their environment, for themselves, or when we ingest them. All of these constituents work together. Scientists will find that one or two main chemicals seem to have leading roles in these actions, and their thinking process is that by isolating it and making it stronger, we can achieve more of the desired effects. While this can work, it usually comes with complications and side effects, because when you take these chemicals away from the support of their community, they behave differently. I have seen turmeric extract products from the grocery store cause kidney problems in the elderly, among many other things I have seen from the supplement industry. Community nourishment believes in making medicine as close to the way as nature did as we can. Making tinctures, capsules, oils, etc. obviously involves some processing, but I work with all of the plant material. We make all of the medicine by hand. One of our best products is called Biominerals, a simple 3-ingredient formula that gives our bodies all 102 minerals that it needs to thrive. Regardless of what feelings people may hold about herbalism and natural healing, herbs are food, and food is medicine. There are countless herbs, roots, leaves, flowers, and more that can be prepared in a number of ways that can help us to ensure that our bodies receive the nutrients that it requires. There are so many plants that taste wonderful and offer the body recognizable and easy to assimilate nutrients. Some of these herbs include nettles, lemon balm, chamomile, ginger, turmeric, holy basil, red clover, red roses, yarrow, burdock, dandelion, rosemary, thyme, licorice root, marshmallow root, red raspberry leaf, and the list goes on and on and on. There are so many herbs that are safe to experiment with. It's like trying new vegetables, and this perspective can help to remove the fear of the unknown when working with these plants. While I believe herbalism is the people's medicine, I also know how important it is to talk to or work with people who have dedicated themselves to this field and can provide you with solid advice and reliable resources. What we face in the world on a daily basis is hard, heavy, and even terribly sad. However, we do not and should not have to face it alone. From your community of humans to your community of plants, if you seek support, you will find it. Thank you all for allowing me to stand before you today and speak about something that I am so passionately devoted to. And I want all of you to know that if there is anything I can do to help and support you, I promise you that I will do it. Remember, as long as we consume the poison, they will continue to produce the poison. The change starts with us. That's it. I took a couple notes down here. There are some things that I want to touch on. There was a nurse who did not like me. She even suggested that I stay in my lane and told the audience that they should seek out somebody more qualified. Mind you, she did not ask me what my credentials are. She did not ask me about my education, nor did she ask me for any resources. Not a single person in there asked me any of these questions. She did bring up how I was promoting community nourishment. And I just want to say, you are absolutely right. Community nourishment works very, very hard to provide resources to the community. Over 70% of the money that we make goes right back into the community. Even more than that, that's all we do. Every item we sell, we donate one. We're out here doing a lot of work. I've devoted my entire life to this, and you are absolutely correct that if I am asked to stand in front of an audience and share from my heart, that community nourishment is going to be brought up, and I will stand on that. What else? Now, since then, that I made a post on social media, I have a comment from the organization, from the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship here in St. Augustine, saying that they did not know that I was going to make anti-trans remarks. Nothing in there is anti-trans. I am not anti-trans. I am anti-pharmaceutical and surgical interventions for children, especially with how experimental they are. And I'm going to share with you a fact that I started to share with the people who were upset with me. And as I started to share this, that's when several of them started walking out. And like a 50 to 60-year-old grown man flicked me off on his way out. And somebody said something along the lines of, I don't care about the children. And I did say, yes, I do. And I'd like to keep them intact. And so here it is. When you put a 12-year-old boy on puberty blockers, his genitalia stops developing. Now let's fast forward, and this 12-year-old boy is now 22 years old. He has the genitalia of a 12-year-old. Let's say that this young man now actually wants to be a man. He has the genitalia of a 12-year-old. On the other side of that coin, let's say that this man says, you know what, I want to go through with it. I meant what I said when I was young, and I actually do want to go through the surgery to have the gender transition, right? In full-grown males, when they make this decision, they use the tissue from their fully developed genitalia to build the canal of the vagina. But now this 22-year-old boy no longer has that option because we did not allow his genitalia to develop. So now they have to carve skin out of his forearms, calves, or buttocks, or other parts of his body and use that skin to build the canal. I am all for adults making whatever decisions they want for their bodies. What I am not for is pretending like it is okay to stunt these biological processes that are absolutely necessary for the development of children because of somebody's belief or ideology, or to make them feel special. What I wanted to, the mental illness that we talk about for these trans kids, what are they eating? The nurse tried to make a point and say that now research is showing that in utero, these children are having these changes in the utero. Again, as I led with this presentation, what your mother eats is what creates you. I would like to ask that nurse, because I did not have the opportunity to do so, as if these studies followed what the mothers were eating, because she said, her words, that it has nothing to do with nutrition. Myself and somebody else in the audience told her it has everything to do with nutrition. Did the studies mention that? What the mother was eating? What the mother's mother ate? This food industry is new. We've only been eating like this for maybe 50 or more years, not very long at all. And we are starting to see the consequences of eating this fake processed poison. I was told that I should not have been allowed to speak there because of what I shared. The woman asked me, one of the first questions she said when I spoke about children, was I talking about trans children? And it's hard for me to remember exactly what I said. And if anybody wants to email the Unitarian Church, I would like to get as many emails as we can for the release of the Zoom recording that they had so we can see. And I told her, I'm not talking about children who want to identify as something else or want to behave in a different way. I am talking about the pharmaceuticals and the surgeries being pushed onto these children. It's devastating. Nobody asked for credentials or research. So that's that. I have a lot of, it's been a lot because now, since I have shared my experience there, I've had people, again, these people coming out of the mud. I've been speaking on this for years now, for years. And now here they come again with, oh, you're anti-trans. I attack and bully their trans friends because of their sexual preferences. There will never be any proof of that because that never happened. I do not care what adults choose to do. But something is interesting. They think that I have no experience when it comes to the trans community. Why don't you ask me and I can share with you the bucket load of experience that I have. Some of it really bad. I've seen grown men methed out, completely different gender, doing crazy things. So let's not act like the whole thing is okay, because there is some really sick stuff that can stem from this, just like with anything else. I don't speak from ignorance. I speak from education and passion. If we could all get them to release the Zoom video, that would be amazing. I look forward to hearing what feedback that you have. Actual feedback from people who are hydrated and can think critically. People who want to ask questions, explore, not just attack me because what I'm saying triggers you. What I have said here is true. These foods have caused things that we're not even aware of yet. Our food industry is poisoning us. And what is happening is not okay. And it's people like the ones who stand up and attack the people that speak the truth that are hindering us from exposing this. But the more of us that can stand up, speak the truth, no matter who or what attacks you, the more we will begin to shift away from this. We were not designed to eat this way. We were not designed to live this way. And no matter how many names you want to call me, or how many insults you want to hurl at me, or anything else that you want to try and do to discredit me, I cannot and will not be silenced.